mother's family came from Germany. They came over to New York around the 1850s and settled in Queens, where they remained. I have fond memories of my grandmother because we lived with my maternal grandparents for a couple of years. And so some of my earliest memories are her taking me to Coney Island on the rides. My father's family came from Poland, and actually a part of Poland that was alternately Poland and then Russia, kind of back and forth. My grandmother came through Canada. Actually, her sister was supposed to come, but I think her sister got ill, so she went on her sister's papers. And I believe my grandfather came through Ellis Island, and then they settled in Brooklyn. So I was born in Queens, and we were in Forest Hills, Queens for the first couple of years, where we lived with my grandparents, and then moved out to Long Island to a town called Old Bethpage. And this was kind of the late 50s, early 60s, when there was this incredible boom in building houses. On Long Island, there were the Levittown tract houses and lots of suburban developments where one house was identical to another house. I have three brothers, three younger brothers. It was a very active, busy, very competitive household growing up. I think you could describe dinner hour as he who hesitates gets nothing. My father was an electrical engineer, and he worked for Grumman. I could never go to his work because it was all government work, all top secret. He worked on the lunar module, and I just remember this incredible pride he had when we watched that grainy black and white moon landing. My mother stayed at home when all of us were growing up, and then she went back to work as a legal secretary when we were all in school. Growing up, I just loved summers. I loved the pool. I loved to swim. I loved going to the beach. To this day, I still think Long Island has some of the most beautiful beaches. And particularly in the summertime, we would travel because my father got 2 weeks of vacation. So I have fond memories of trips to Cape Cod and Lake George and Maine, New Hampshire. And one year we actually got to go to Europe. My parents had won a car in the church lottery, church raffle, and they decided to trade it in, sell it, and they took us all to Europe, which was just a fabulous experience. Growing up, academics were super important. You were expected to not just get good grades, to excel. My mother believed that you could do anything you wanted to as long as you worked hard enough. And if you didn't achieve it, it's just because you just didn't work hard enough. If you came home with a 99 grade, her response was always, "What happened to the other point?" So there was this continual push to constantly improve and constantly do better. I think I was first interested in medicine in first grade, and I had a first grade teacher that for some crazy reason brought in a cow's heart, and I remember sketching it and being fascinated with the chambers of the heart. And then throughout elementary school and middle school, I recall science class and various dissections, frogs and fetal pigs, and it was just something I was always interested in, and particularly always interested in surgery. When I started to apply to college, there were a number of 6-year programs that combined college and medical school into 6 years instead of 8 years. And since I was very convinced I wanted to go into surgery and eager to get there, I thought these would be a good idea. So I applied to Boston University and also to the Albany RPI program. I loved the city of Boston when I went up for my interview. And so I went to that program, which was really a wonderful program. We went to school over the summers, and the summers in Boston were really, really a lot of fun. I stayed at Boston University, and so I did my general surgery training at what is now Boston Medical Center, but then was Boston City Hospital. We saw an enormous amount of penetrating trauma, lots of gunshot wounds and stab wounds. It was the days of some of the drug wars in Boston and just an incredible amount of violence. I was originally interested in orthopedics, actually, orthopedic oncology, but soon came under the spell of colorectal surgery, if you will. In my third year, we had a new rotation to Leahy Clinic. The new rotation was because Dave Schutz, who was a graduate of the program, did his fellowship at Leahy and then stayed on staff. So he actually started this rotation, and I spent actually 6 months on the colorectal service working with Dave and working with Mike Weidenheimer. This was the early days of ileoanal pouch surgery that I had never seen before, and actually Leahy was one of the few institutions in the country doing the surgery. And I was just incredibly impressed. I thought the people I worked with were the best technical surgeons that I had ever seen, and I just saw surgery that I had never seen done that way. In addition to being fabulous technical surgeons, they were also great people, and I was fortunate to match to Leahy for colon rectal surgery and then do my clinical year, my fellowship year, and actually my entire career at Leahy. So I felt fortunate that I had a number of opportunities at Leahy throughout my career. I've had two fabulous mentors in my career. One was Dr. Irwin Hirsch, who was chief of surgery at Boston City Hospital, fabulous surgeon and just very adept at giving you an enormous amount of autonomy in the operating room. He was almost like a second father to me. And the other's been Dr. David Schutz, who has been a friend, colleague, mentor for many years, and really the reason that I got interested in and then went into colon and rectal surgery. I went to my first ASCRS meeting as a chief resident, and it just impressed me how friendly everybody was and how interesting the meeting was. I got involved in committees at ASCRS when I got pulled into the awards committee one year when Bob Fry was the chair of the committee. Somebody couldn't make it, and so I was on the awards committee, which at that time you went to every single presentation and every single paper. So probably learned more that year than any other year. And then from that, was on a number of other committees. What was then called the Standards Committee, now is the Clinical Practice Guidelines. But Lester Rosen was really forward thinking in putting that group together. And we were one of the first societies to come up with clinical practice guidelines, and then progressed onto a number of other committees, the Self-Assessment Committee, putting together the RSAP edition. I participated in the Operative Competency Committee, where we focused on technical skills and assessment of technical skills. And with Helen McRae and Sandra de Montbroom came up with COSATS, the Colorectal Objective Structured Assessment of Technical Skills, which we then piloted at the board exam. In terms of the journey to president, I must say I didn't start off saying, oh, I want to be president of the society, but it was really a wonderful opportunity to be on the executive council and then to be president of the society. Yeah, it's interesting because when I first started in the society, Ann Lowry started a luncheon for female colorectal surgeons. And I think it was the late 80s. We had our first lunch, and we had one table and plenty of room at the table. And it's really amazing to see the growth of women in medicine at large and also in our specialty. I think that when you start off and you're one of a few people in an organization, such as one of a handful of women, there's a lot more scrutiny. And with the scrutiny, there also can be more opportunities. And so it can actually serve to open up some doors. The door doesn't stay open unless you work hard at it. But I must say that I think that the society has always been very supportive of women. In my presidential year, we had a lot of transitions. First of all, I think we had a wonderful tripartite meeting. The tripartite meeting occurs in the US every 9 years. And we had a very large meeting with record attendance. We had a record number of abstracts submitted to the meeting and had a number of hands-on courses and panels, and really a nice coming together of all different international colorectal surgeons. My presidential year had a lot of transitions. We had a very stable professional management group, and we had the executive director and the associate executive director pass away and retire, and so we had a real gap. It became apparent to many of us on executive council that we were going to need to make a change. And so in my presidential year, we started the transition process to bring on a new management group. And then over the years, we've gone to a new management group and now to self-management. It was a difficult process, but I believe that the society is now in a much better place. We also had a transition in our journal, DCR, and we had a new editor, Susan Glandiak, starting, new associate editors, and an entirely new editorial office starting. And so we were actually able to dedicate a lot of resources to that and to ensuring that that would be successful. And I think that Susan and team have really done a spectacular job with DCNR. I was fortunate. I must say that my husband is probably my biggest supporter. Mike is also a surgeon. We were both residents at Boston City Hospital. He was actually my junior resident when I was chief resident. That's another story. And he has just been an incredible supporter. You know, any career opportunity that I've had when I've started to go through, should I do it? Is this going to work? This, that. And his basic response has always been, if you want to do it, just do it. We'll work it out. Having 3 children has been wonderful. It's also been incredibly busy. Our kids were all within 3 years, which might not be the way I would plan it if I could plan it. They also spent a lot of time at the hospital. They would occasionally answer my pages when I was on call. But we were fortunate in having wonderful childcare. So my advice would be pick your partner well, have great childcare, have a good sense of humor, and make sure you have some time with your partner. We used to call it date night. Used to be Tuesday nights. I think throughout my career, I've had a focus on education, and it's really been a privilege to have been part of the training of over 75 colon and rectal residents and hundreds of general surgery residents. And I'm just in awe of what they have accomplished. Many of them have gone on to leadership positions or have started a colorectal training program. So I'd say that that's really what I'm most proud of in terms of my career. I think we're really in the golden age of colon and rectal surgery. Wide breadth of procedures, interest among our trainees and medical students in terms of pursuing the field. And so I think it's a fabulous time to become a colon and rectal surgeon. And my advice to younger people would be to jump in. It is a great career. And also, as opportunities present themselves, to say yes and to recognize that opportunities don't come at the perfect time in life. But it is really good to take advantage of things because you never know what's going to spark your interest. I think a lot of people don't start medical school wanting to be a colorectal surgeon, but with exposure to the field and the people in the field, it really is a fabulous specialty.